Hey everyone, welcome back to New Method Live. And I always talk to you guys about nutrition and supplements and sleep, but there's also a stress piece that I always talk to you about. But I don't necessarily have all the tools when it comes to that, right? I could help you on the physical, the diet, the mold, the Lyme, the IBS. But when it comes to the metaphysical, that is definitely not my strong point. And I want to be sure to give you guys as many tools as possible, which brings me to today's guest. Today I have on Janet Namaste as a guest, and her title is Intuitive Healer, Hypnotherapist, and Family Constellation Facilitator. And that's okay if you don't know what that means, because I didn't know either. We're going to unpack what all those words mean, and she will talk to you about the things that she does with her clients to get to their spiritual root cause. And what she says is that no matter what major change you want to make, her individualized step-by-step process, which incorporates intuitive life coaching, meditation, Reiki, and all kinds of other tools, is going to help you get to live your life to the fullest. So if you're feeling stuck in anything in your life, you want to tune in here. And the whole point of this and the whole reason I have these guests on is I want you to know that these tools exist and that there are options out there that maybe you haven't yet explored. So let's jump on into the interview. So I am so excited to have you here, Janet. You and I know each other for many, 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 many years. Our children went to school together when they were munchkins. They're both in college now. So thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. I know, many, many, many years.
Many years. Actually, we're both just 25. I don't know how many years. Impossible. So before we dig in, let me just say this to the people who listen to me, because I tend to really live in the world. My podcasts are about the physical, the guts, the joints, the brain, the skin. This is not that kind of podcast. This podcast is the metaphysical, and we're going to dig into that. But I think it's really important. I spend a lot of time with my clients about managing stress and managing their emotions, because I can help with nutrition. I can help talk about sleep. I can help talk about supplements. But that stress piece, we always look for external modalities. So I think, what you're going to bring to the table is going to be amazing. Before we get to those modalities, tell us a little bit about how you found your calling.
So the way that I found my calling was actually this was something that since I was a little girl, I actually grew up in a house. I was the first generation American, a family of immigrants from Eastern Europe. And it was a stressful environment in the sense, they were trying to make stability where they felt very unstable as immigrants, not knowing the language and so on and so forth. So English, I was exposed to many languages. English actually happened to be my seventh language that I know now, even though I was born in Brooklyn, New York. But my ability to translate different languages trained my brain in such a capacity that I was able to translate and be able to see, depending on the way people were speaking, in the intonation, in the resonance of their voice. I would call it, now I could call it, it's a soul translator. And I couldn't comprehend of sometimes when I would even see, hear, feel the essence of them through their hearts. And when their words would come out, if it was synonymous with what I felt around them, then I knew it equals truth. When it wasn't synonymous, and it's that feeling right away, there's this energy of repellent. And that was my barometer of what is real and what is not real, what is fact, what is fiction. And as a child, when I did sense the dissonance of what people would say and what I would actually feel, I then began to doubt myself and thinking that it was a personal, not a vendetta by no means, but it was almost like of them not being honest with me. I would start taking it personally that they're not telling me the truth because there was something wrong with me, not realizing that there's something embedded in them, not that there's wrong, but they're hiding something inside because of the fear of being excluded. And that's why people lie. It has to do with the fear of ever being exclusion. So really it came from day one, being able to discern and be this cosmic translator of the soul. And later on in life, I ended up getting a degree in education. I then furthered my degree in computer science. But at age 24, I was blessed enough to have met my mentor and my first teacher. His name is Dr. Brian Weiss, and he is an incredible therapist. He's not just a therapist, but he is somebody that, in my perspective and in my experience with him, I just find that he is this intelligent, humble, amazing human being. And what he did is, despite of the AMA, the American Medical Academy, or the facility of the board of directors of whatever you guys abide by, the doctrines and everything like that. What is it, the AMA?
The AMA, but I don't think he's a psychiatrist, right? Or
Yeah, he's a psychiatrist, yeah. But I think he's a psychiatrist. Like, we went to like 2 Ivy Leagues, and brilliant man, but he is a doctor, he's a physician. And he was actually going into becoming a surgeon, and then through his own experience, he then pivoted during his fellowship and went into psychiatry. So when I was 24, I had the privilege of meeting him. I read his book in 1989 when it first came out, Many Lives, Many Masters. And it was a woo-woo book, in a sense. It was how, science meets spirituality, or how spirituality meets science, and beyond the veil of how hypnotherapy bypassed the conscious mind and was able to go into the origin and the root cause of certain traumas and stresses to dissipate the symptom, per se. And so that's what the book was about, but it went into different layers. So at 24, I was working in the fashion district at that time, but as a web developer. He was doing, at that time, he rented out this like venue, this huge church with 300 people. And out of the 300 people that were there, I was one that was chosen at the end to be one-on-one with him. It was a show like Sally Jesse Raphael's show. It was, at that time, it was Sally, Oprah, and Donahue.
Yeah, I remember that.
At 4 p.m. or whatever it is. So we ended up going on the Sally show the next day, and he put me under hypnosis. And what transpired was beyond the scope of even my reality. I spoke in French. I don't speak French. That was not any language of the 7 languages that I was exposed to. French was not one of them at all. I've never been to France. It was not anything. And under hypnosis, I started speaking in French. And after that, he took me as like one of his students. I studied under him. I had the great privilege of also getting my certification in hypnotherapy, not knowing what I was going to do with it. It was just really aligned with my passion. And then one day in the year 2002, when my daughter was born, I left the corporate field. And due to her own medical issues and ailments and tribulations that she was born with, I left the corporate world. And that's when I started integrating what I learned as a hypnotherapist and the innate gifts of the clairvoyance, the metaphysical world. And that's when I officially came out into the public and being my true authentic self. So that's the alignment of passion and purpose.
Nice.
Yeah.
So before we get into like the modalities of it, just if you could explain because people are coming in and they listened to the intro and they heard this, but there was a lot of really big words on like a very easy level. Why would someone reach out to you? And what is it on a very like simple level? What is it that you do? So why would someone reach out to you, and what is it that you do?
So in my 25 years as a metaphysical healer, what I have developed, and I truly believe it's a unique approach. It's a multifaceted approach where I use various modalities to help each individual, so unique expression of themselves, tap into their own innate healing abilities. Because I feel, and with 100% certainty, that everyone has the capacity inside of them to help aid in their healing. It's not just a co-creation, but it's a co-facilitation of healing. But it's not that somebody else is driving the bus. So what I primarily do, I work with each individual. It's all unique. Either we go through hypnotherapy, regression work, mindfulness techniques, because in order to really get to the root of what the stress is, my main objective is for people, all individuals, to remove the codependency on others and realize that they are independent, that they have all the tools they need inside. So all I do is remind them with their own techniques of the breathing techniques. One breath technique may work best with one and another one it doesn't. So it's all individual. There's also something called Reiki, which is a Japanese method of hands-on healing or even energetic healing. And the other modality that I absolutely love is family constellation work, which I was introduced to in 2016. And it really is, depending on what the person is searching for, which usually is peace, which usually is when the first thing that I believe of the thousands and thousands of patients and individuals that I've had the privilege of seeing, the number one objective when I ask for what is your intention, 90% I just want peace.
So what are the types, so when people come to you, they're not coming to you and saying, hi, hello, I would like some peace. What are the type of things that people are saying to you when they first come? I'm reaching out to you because,
and usually there are certain issues or what appears to be issues that are redundant. And some of them are like, I know that this is wrong, but I keep on thinking this way. So what we do is I help them bypass maybe a negative thought form, maybe a past negative relationship, maybe certain traumas that may have happened, not even to them. They may not even know that it was even generational. It's almost like of someone getting out of, what do they say, like a hamster in a wheel syndrome type of thing. And they're like, here I go again. I was doing really well. And then suddenly they're drawn to something that they know cognitively that it is not right for them, but they keep on. So a lot of repetitive negative habits, trials, tribulation, and also of perhaps even of financial issues that may be like, I don't know why, it has to do with self-worth as well, because there's plenty of money in the world, but it's it has to do with generosity. It has to do with acts of service, and it stems from the person of their own worth as well. Somebody could be talented in all things, but unless they actually feel that confidence, and that's what it is. I have the privilege to bringing out the gifts in them. So money, relationships, broken hearts of any type, and I can't say any type of addictions because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a financial advisor. I go to the root of the belief system that has not been aligned with them when they are stuck and they keep on getting blocked. That's why they would come to me.
Amazing. Okay, good, because I want to make sure that people who are listening are like, well, how does this apply to me? I want to make sure that they understand how it applies. So, and a lot of people I work with certainly are stuck in what I'm hearing is like self-sabotage. Like, I know I should really do this. I know I should be nutritionally on point. I know I should exercise. I know I should take these supplements. I should stop smoking. And I do really well for like 5 days, 6 days, whatever. And then I listen to this little voice on my shoulder and I'm back to where I am. And so this is a really important point, because a lot of us is like, oh man, I just don't have the willpower. But what you're saying is it's not really a willpower thing. This could be something stuck in you spiritually. And I know we're going to go deeper in modalities in a moment, but something stuck in you spiritually from this lifetime, from a past lifetime, that actually until you kind of unstuck it, you can't get there. And that's really important, because a lot of times we think, I don't have the willpower, I'm not strong enough, what's wrong with me? And then we go into a whole other kind of spiral, when in fact they just need different tools. So I love that.
And also they use methods because it's that voice of judgment in their head, that voice of criticism that they may have heard when they were a child, and that's a program, and that program is there is no truth behind that. We came here on this planet Earth, we make mistakes, but that's the way we learn.
Right.
Could have been that maybe a teacher or a coach or a brother or a sibling, whatever it may have been. And that voice that you're speaking about on the shoulder is of, it doesn't matter anyway. It insinuates that there is doubt and uncertainty in in what the person is capable of, gives them a ceiling. And that's the furthest thing from the truth, because we're capable of miracles and doing, otherwise we wouldn't desire it. For a person who has gone through, let's say, the obesity, like maybe, oh, well, it runs in my family, so they think it's because it's genetic. But in reality, the fact that they have this awareness, it means that they can switch and they could change something about it and go into the doors of healthy, spiritually and nutritionally support. It's very, very, very important. We always have a choice. And that's imperative that people know that, instead of deflecting, like, I'm just going to ignore it right now.
Someone once told me, someone I worked with in the spiritual realm said that if that voice in your head is negative, it's not your voice.
Yeah.
Because your voice is always positive. So
love that. I love that. Yeah.
It was like, oh yeah, you're an idiot. I can't believe you did this. Oh my God, you're such a loser. That's actually not your voice. And I thought of that when you said that's probably something either from childhood or something else. That's not your voice talking to you, because your voice is only a voice of love. It's only a voice of support.
Yeah.
So, oh my God, I love this. So I know we're going to talk about something called family constellation, which I don't know what it is, but we will get there. But tell me, before we jump in there, just let me know, because I really want people to be able to access this conversation and ultimately access you, work with you. What are the type of modalities that you do that people either might be familiar with or not familiar with? So what is it that she does? Is she sprinkling fairy dust on us? What is she doing?
No, I don't sprinkle.
I'm in charge of fairy dust. This is my month. This is June.
Yeah, that's it.
A little gay humor. Okay.
It's so what I do is there's the free thing. When I work with people individually, of course, like I mentioned before, it's a unique approach by all means. It's I delve into the essence of, I work with numerology, but through numerology, I do have the power to channel. I do have that gift of channeling. Channeling is being able to access, it's not the logical level. It's not in a three-dimensional world. It's not about it's not just cause and effect. We go into where there's all solutions. It's almost like a real deep meditative state in which where I feel that I'm like an eagle on a perch in a sense, and I see the vastness of it. Because as human beings, sometimes we just see like the blinders are on the side of us, like the horses, and we don't see that there are choices to the left and to the right of us. We just keep on going, going, going. And there's so much outside hypnosis at this moment in time, when you're with the news, with a lot of social media, and people are scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And what that's doing is that's programming the person's mind. They're forgetting a piece of themselves. That 1 minute could turn into 30 minutes and 2 hours, and that time you never get back. Mm-hmm. So what I do is, when I'm working on an individual basis, of course, there are intuitive healing sessions, where there's energy healing sessions, but I teach about the metaphysical anatomy as well, not the biophysical. There's a biophysical electromagnetic field around us. There's organs, it's not just about biology and chemistry, but I speak about the metaphysical anatomy and of the chakra systems that is within us. And the chakra system are these energetic vortices that are within us, that are from our tailbone. They're located in our body. Like if you could look at any metaphysical, talk about your month, it's a rainbow color. It's the rainbow color. And it starts with the color red, which begins at the tailbone, and it goes all the way up to the color purple, which ends up by the top of our head. And I teach each individual of how these metaphysical chakra systems, what organs that they are influenced by, but it has to do with the emotional physical connection that we don't realize that we're constantly making, because we are multifaceted individuals. We're not robots. I keep on going back to that. It's not like you plug in an idea and there it is, and you go from A to Z. there's all of these things, and even the way that we discern of what is happening in front of us, whether it gets us happy, whether it challenges us, or we go back to that thinking of, I'm not sure I'm good enough. It affects us on a metaphysical level. We're all energy beings. So I do speak about, when I teach, when I do the sessions with people, of quantum physics as well. We bring quantum physics in there as well. And we speak about how activating these chakra systems, and I give them tools depending on their repetitive patterns that they have, that have persisted for years or months or whatever it may be, specific tangible tools that they can use that it wouldn't bypass. The difference is now they have the awareness, where at first they just thought it was like that they felt that cause, and they have they have this catalyst, and then right away they go and do something right after. Here they become the interruption. So I teach them about how each specific chakra system affects their their entire body, their breath, their stress, and sometimes there's a blockage in there. And when you clear that, then your job of what you do here on this planet Earth is so much easier, because then there's a container that is opened, that is inside of them, because they're open to receive. They're just not looking for a Band-Aid. They're looking for the innate solution. And that's where, so I come in of helping them, discerning what it is, giving them the tools. And we do hypnotherapy at times if it needed, regression work. And it's so empowering, regression work. Regression work is a hypnotherapy method that helps individuals explore past experiences. Forget about past lives. I'm not even going to go with that. That's probably another topic. But past experiences, let's say, that may be influencing their present. And then they become the driver of their bus, because it gets recorded if they choose to. And they realize, oh my God, I never realized that that's what happened to me. And that's why I am just staying there at that moment. We do something called inner child healing too, which is the inner child is actually that loving voice inside of us that you were speaking about. It is that voice that is joy. It doesn't know anything about limitations. It doesn't know anything about negativity. It just wants to have fun. It wants to go into the sandbox. It wants to go play with dirt. It wants to go swimming in the lake. There are no fears. There are no boundaries in that. It's very free. It feels sovereign. Oh, sovereign was our word. I just remembered from 2 years ago. It feels sovereign. It feels free. So that's another thing. Mindfulness techniques, Reiki, and the family constellations. And this is an individual, but I also do group, which in 2000, I began, because community for me is so important. It's like I know it is for you. Community is so important, because for me, it is about inclusion. And when the pandemic hit, I was doing a lot of these pro bono, like on YouTube, on Zoom, on whatever I could have my voice there so people can get together and just voice, what they're feeling inside. But after that, it blossomed into something called a Soul Star membership. And that's where I come on twice a month. It's a beautiful community from people all over the world. We go on retreats together. We meet like once or twice a year in person. It's a beautiful thing. And that's where we support one another. I do energy healings. I bring on special guests that are there. My objective is to always empower the individual and for them to know they are never, ever alone.
That's so important.
It's so important.
Yeah. And so, I love that you've brought a lot of modalities, because, when people come to me also, they're like, should I just take this probiotic? And I'm like, oh my God, if it was just that simple. Right. So like even physically, there's so many layers. Some people it's just nutrition, and that's great. And some people need mold detox, and some people need Lyme, and some people, need their microbiomes, and some people need all of it. And true healing requires more than one thing. over time. Like you might start with one thing and feel great and then go to another level and another level. So, for the listening, you might be like, wow, she does a lot. But if you're going to go towards healing, you have to be fluid enough and have a lot of tools at your fingertips to be able to move the needle, because it's never one thing and it's never prescriptive, and it's never like people say to me, I'm like, I don't know what supplement you should take. I don't know enough about you, right? Like everything has to be individualized and customized. I love that. Okay, so now we're going to get to this topic that you mentioned, and it was in our questions, but I wanted to get us there. I wanted to get the audience understanding a little bit more about you, because this is something I've never heard of, and I kind of want to make sure that we've created the right environment for it. So what is this thing called family constellations?
Oh my God, I could speak about family constellations all night, all day.
Well, you have like 3 minutes.
So family constellation, I was introduced to it in 2016 by my mentor, Michelle Bleckner, who is just a doll to me. And I just absolutely adore her. She's 81 years old, my best friend, and really an amazing, amazing individual who helped me during that moment of time, because every doctor goes to a doctor. Every therapist needs a therapist. If you go to a healer that doesn't have a healer, then that's not your healer, because we are constant students. We're not gurus here. This is a path of enlightenment for all of us. So Michelle in 2016, when was at a crossroads with it, there was something that happened in my family with my father and my son during that time, that I'm like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And what she helped me with, and she introduced me to this modality. This is in the 1920s. Bert Hellinger, he was born in the 1920s. He was a German psychotherapist, but originally he wanted to be a priest. Okay, he wanted to be a priest. And what he did is that he went to study in South Africa. He went to go do missionary work, and he studied the Zulu tribe. And with the Zulu tribe, what he realized through this amazing lens is there's something called a knowing field, a morphic field, the quantum field. And this is what I always worked with as an energy healer, that everything around us, we're connected. Everyone is connected. What one person's opinion, it affects the whole. It really, really does. So what he realized after 50 years of studying and treating families and everything like that, he realized and he observed that there are certain aspects generationally, ancestrally, at least 7 generations. This is epigenetic work as well. This is the study of Bruce Lipton as well, Dr. Bruce Lipton, that through generations, there's something called epigenetics that we maybe this a great-great-grandchild may have adopted or inherited due to a trauma of an ancestor, okay? Because it gets carried down biologically. And whenever there is an emotion or a trauma in a society, in an individual, there's certain hormone levels, this is your forte. This is your forte. Cortisol, all these things that actually can change the dynamic of people's even immunity as well. When there's high cortisol, they're constantly stressed. Their immune system goes down because they're constantly stressed out. So there's certain things like patterns of mental illness or negative emotions, like potentially disruptive behaviors that get passed down within families. And what he realized, that these great-great-grandchildren unconsciously adopt these concerns as a way of loyalty, of the ancestors, because they will always feel included. So they feel included. It's almost like, I'll take one for the team, but it's a subconscious thing. They don't even realize they're doing it. So what I really love about it is that either you can do it in a workshop. It's actually very challenging to explain how I do it in a group and even individual. There is a Netflix, which I really love. Netflix, it is a Turkish series, just 6, but it's a Turkish series of family constellations. And this is just so you could understand the depth of it. And there's also a book by Mark Wolin, It Didn't Start With You. So for instance,
another self.
That's it. Another self. Exactly. Thank you. Oh my God. And that's something that like you could listen, you could watch it in English or whatever, or with English subtitles, however you choose. But what it is, on the field, the morphic field, never lies. And they did this study. They did this study on mice. It's very interesting, on mice. And what they did is they had mice, and every time that they would go and smell a flower, this particular flower, they zapped them. It's not the most humane, or they zapped them. Then those mice, the females, they became pregnant. And then the next, like their babies were never exposed to this elderflower and to the trauma of getting a shock. They wouldn't even go near the flower. They wouldn't go near the flower. They would go away. And they did this. It was for a few generations. Then when those babies had babies, they also didn't go next to the flower. It's in ourselves. So this, what family constellation does, which I really absolutely love, it gets to the origin of the trauma, and it's different than regular therapy because it includes the deceased, which regular does not. And what it is, it's phenomenological approach, okay? One of Hellinger's key innovations was the use of this type of approach, focusing on what is immediately perceived and experienced rather than interpreting and analyzing. So, for instance, if we would do a group constellation, it would be a group of strangers, or a group of, and there's a person that is the representative, right? And then there's the person that is the client. The client sits down next to the facilitator. Let's say I'm the facilitator, and I will ask, what is it that you want to work on? And they could say, well, I have a lot of panic attacks. I don't know where they're coming from. I have panic attacks. And where derived from, not quite sure. So we start, the facilitator knows the kind of questions that to ask to get to the root, or possibly. And then the facilitator will say, okay, let's say the client says, well, my mother had a rageaholic father. Okay, because we ask about the family dynamics. It's very important. And what I love about constellations is that it includes everyone. It's like, oh, we don't speak about that brother. That brother was, he was an addict. Oh, we don't speak about that person. They did this. Oh, we don't speak. They went to jail. We don't talk about. We have to acknowledge everyone, even miscarriages. And there may be even secrets. Secrets can cause diseases in the body because we don't even know why at times we feel the restrictions, but there are times but those secrets, anything that is hidden, gets revealed, and I'll explain how. You ask the person who here, and you could actually use either paper, you can use objects, but I like to use people. Why? Because then there's a Gestalt method, which is a German method, and it's about body. And you see what happens, it's very visceral. So the person, client, asks, you know what, I'll have this person represent my mother. They never met before. Okay, who would you like to represent your mother's father? She goes and picks somebody else. Then I ask, place them on the field how you choose. She'll move them around, and suddenly everyone takes a breath. She sits down, and you just watch them. And then I ask, what do you feel, mother? What do you feel, grandfather? And it's interesting enough, it's almost as if it's really, when I first saw this, I thought that I was like, that all these people were actors and actresses. I couldn't even believe my eyes. I'm like, this person's saying everything that my mother's saying. Oh my God. I'm like, because the field, the morphogenetic field doesn't lie. We're all connected. We are all connected. And so then, let's say after the way that they're placed, we then find a resolution. Not necessarily, sometimes the resolution, there may not be a resolution, like of this is the answer to a problem. Just by being seen and accepted of what was can clear the energy of the blockage. And that's why I love constellation work, because what it accesses emotions, it accesses physical sensations, and that belong to family members that they represent, despite having no prior knowledge of the family's history.
Amazing, amazing.
It's amazing, amazing, amazing work.
Another piece in your tools.
Oh my God.
And I know that we didn't even scratch the iceberg on this. So tell me, if people want to work with you after this amazing time that we spent together, how do they reach you?
They could reach me either janetnamaste.com. They could just email me directly, or they can just go on my site, janetnamaste.com. They can go on the bottom, sign up for the newsletter, be in touch that way. They could even schedule a call. Like on my website, you just get on the page, you schedule a call, and the call is free. And honestly, Dr. E, if I'm not for everybody, and I'm for somebody.
Yeah.
I think there's a lid for every pot. And for me, the most important thing in my 25 years and really my lifetime of being on this planet is authenticity. And if we're not an authentic match, if it's not me, then perhaps into someone else I'll recommend. But if we are, this is, I'm dedicated. But if not,
I love that.
It's about honesty, not about, there's no greed or malintent in this type of work, because healing comes from within, not about being codependent on anyone.
Absolutely. And I'm about to ask you, I'm going to let you think in our last question is what, one thing you maybe want to tell our audience that I didn't ask you yet, but what you said is really important. And I do the same on my consults. Unlike you, though, my consults are not free because I spend like an hour with them, but
yeah,
not for everyone. And I will often guide people. And as long as they get a sense of direction after working with me, then I did the right thing, even if it's to know that this is not the thing and you need to go somewhere else. So that's really important, too. Also knowing that this is not the path is just as important as knowing that it is. And I love that. So is there anything you want to tell our shared audience that maybe I forgot to ask?
Oh, goodness. What I'd like to share with the audience is for them, we're actually filming today and recording on the solstice and Capricorn full moon. And the solstice is, the longest day here in the Northern Hemisphere with the sun. It's the official first day of summer. I'd like to just let people know that even when there are shades of gray outside and when it's a cloudy day, the sun always rises in the morning. It's there, that they know that this too shall pass, for them to know the sun is always there.
Oh, that is so good. I didn't even know today was solstice.
Yeah, today's a very special day. Very special day.
I didn't know. Look at that, the day we chose. That's amazing.
Yeah, I know. Of course we did.
Of course we did. Of course, all the links are going to be posted everywhere. Please reach out to Janet if you are struggling. This is part of the puzzle. Like, there's the physical, there's the metaphysical, there's everything in between. All the tools working together synergistically to get you to the path that you want to. Janet, thank you for being here. It was amazing. So glad that you're here. So glad we filled this circle.
Me too. There's more circles to fill.
There's more circles to fill. Yes. Oh my God.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and thank you for doing what you do. So it's an honor to share time and space with you. Thank you.
Oh, that's sweet. What an amazing interview. I'm so glad that you guys stuck around. I put all the links in the bio so you could find Janet if you want to use any of her amazing tools. I hope to see you guys next week. I'll talk to you soon.